Welcome back to 1.2 Brain Cells Podcast.
Yay!
Hola, hola, I'm Nati.
On it.
Yes, welcome back to this week's episode. How are you, my sweet love?
I'm Gucci. The weather finally has calmed down and it's not punching you in the face when you walk out. So that's great.
Facts. Although I was getting slapped by rain today on my way to the gym.
Mm, mm.
Yeah,
Well,
I was not a fan of that.
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Was it
But
heavy though? It just seemed like a drizzle. I didn't really step outside.
it was rainy. It was rainy. It wasn't
Okay.
really too much of a drizzle. Like that shit was going.
Mm,
At least by me though.
mm.
Yeah. But
Okay.
besides
How are you?
that, how are you? I'm good, I'm good. What's your weekly catch up?
You know what? I had all this time to plan. I saw Supergirl with my sister.
How was that?
It was not apparently it was not well received, at least from what I heard from Noelle. And that people were criticizing like one of the action scenes, like the direction that they're going with Supergirl. And I'm like, I really don't get it. I thought it was a fun movie. I think I mean, this definitely is a version of Supergirl. Like it is canon, right? Like Supergirl really it has is she's a traumatized child. She's been through a lot, and they're finally
Mhm.
accurately portraying that, so that was cool. And then the action scenes were fun, so I really don't know what people were complaining about. I gave it
Yeah,
like a solid 8 out of 10.
nice. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it, but Noelle, we went out to breakfast
Mm-hmm.
not too long ago, and she was telling me the plot, and it seemed, I don't know, I liked it. Like it sounded
Yeah,
pretty good and everything, but I don't know, maybe it's not what people expected. Like, is it a
maybe if they were just expecting female version of Superman, that's not Supergirl. And also, Supergirl was never that, so they're just being idiots. But Noelle
right?
did point this out to me. I didn't realize myself that one of the plots in the movie is that there's this group of bad guys that abduct and traffic young girls for brides, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so in Superman, they made the connection that the opposing government is like with the whole Israel situation, right? How you can't just invade land just because you have the strength to. And
Okay.
now Nawal was telling me how this reference is now with the Epstein files, and that just because,
Yes.
well, not just because, but like there's like this large group of just evil uh,
Yeah. And there's an
men
island.
out
Yeah,
there just taking these
she
young
did
girls.
she did tell me this. Yeah. And I guess people didn't like it because of that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. She didn't the criticism about that part, just in general, just the plot that they did with Supergirl,
Oh,
which
because
is frustrating because again, she's not Superman. She was never Superman.
I was gonna tell her though, because she mentioned the whole Epstein file thing to me as well.
Yeah,
And I told her, I'm like, I'm not surprised that in this time a movie's addressing that, because a lot of the times art is, they always say art is political,
yeah.
right? So if they can't get through to people or explain things to them in the simple way of the news and whatever, so then they try to do it through art, which is movies and shit. So when she told me that, I was like, yeah, I'm not surprised that they're trying to allude to whatever's going on. Not whatever, but like the things that are going on, you know?
Hmm. I thought that was cool though.
But you saw it recently. Nice. I am making plans to go see. I know you and Noel went to see Girl Like Girls. Um,
Yes.
yes. After you send me the album, I've been wanting to go see it.
Hmm.
And after you send me the album and everything, I'm making plans to go see it with someone. So I'm excited to go see that. That'd be
I
my
dig
weekly
it. I
catch.
dig it. I think it was both the movie was it was a really it was I think it was like really it's simple. It really is simple, right? But still it was nicely done. It was nicely written.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed watching the whole thing. Stay for the sequel. Like the movie ends and then there's
Yeah,
a
you
post
told me.
credit scene. Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Because that the cherry on the bro, literally everyone in the theater screams with the post credit scene.
Um,
And then Haley Kiyoko's album of the soundtrack of the movie was also just another 10 out of 10.
yeah,
There's like
I've been
I didn't like the
listening
whole
to the
album. I
song.
won't. I'm gonna be honest. Not every song on there was to my style, but a good portion of the songs were I really liked.
Yeah, yeah. After you sent me the song with the collab with Young Miko, I've been checking out
Mhm.
songs here and there, and I've liked them. They're really cute. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. Awesome. I was gonna say, kind of going into the topic of this week, we're gonna be talking about prioritizing yourself versus prioritizing others. What
Yeah.
sparked choosing this? Anything come up, or was just simply,
No, it was I had a whole it wasn't a whole ordeal because it really didn't affect my life, but it was still like an issue I had with so I was talking to this guy, right? And from the get, I was direct with the whole um I am
what you
just
expect?
what I wanted, what I was expecting, right? I was like nothing serious. I'm just meeting people and seeing where it goes. I make no promises, right? But I am going to be honest with you and upfront and direct.
Right.
And he was like, okay, that's fine, that's great, that's cool, I'm in, great, cool. And then um a little bit in, there was a hiccup, right? But he expressed his feelings on the matter, and I was like, okay, I understand and understood. He was like, okay, cool, great, I'm glad we got that out. And I was like, great, perfect. We carried on, and then it was like literally over the weekend, right? Because over the weekend, we had our brunch event on Friday because we were both off of work, and then Saturday was Fourth of July, and then Sunday, well, it's a Sunday after the Fourth, so it was really like, like I'm
Mm,
not, I'm still gonna be hanging out and enjoying my time off. So I had warned him. I was like, hey, like just FYI, I'm really not getting my phone for like the whole weekend, okay? And he's like, okay, cool, that's fine. And then Friday, he annoyed me with something, and I'm like, we had discussed this already. So I don't know
yeah.
why you're bringing this up right
Why
now.
are
I
we
thought we got to,
resurfacing this?
right? I'm like, why? Like, you're bringing it back to your point earlier, right? And he's like, well, I just feel like you're not listening to me. And I'm like, no, I told you I am, but I also told you like where I stand, right? He's like, I just feel like you're not respecting me. And I'm like, how am I not? Because again, I've told you where what I wanted and expected from this, and now you are asking
Are
for the
pushing
exact
that.
opposite, right? Huh?
Mm. And
Like he
now
was
he's
asking the
pushing for
opposite because
something
he
that's
was, yes, and so he turned into like a whole bunch of whining and there is no other word for me to describe it other than whining because he was just like, you don't listen, you don't care about me, like you just ignore what I say and yada yada yada. You're not
mm,
talking to me, you're not responding to me. I told you I needed like I needed more attention. I was like, oh my god, you're a little bitch, aren't you? Um, but again, I'm like, I had told you this weekend I was not gonna be on my phone or
yeah,
I'm not like I'm just not gonna be talking this weekend. I'm like, so
yeah,
you asking for attention when I told you that wasn't gonna happen this weekend, and now you're complaining and
yeah,
bitching. And he's like, see, you're being mean. I'm like, I don't like. I tried not to be harsh, but I also wasn't gonna sugarcoat it because at
yeah,
this point, I'm like, I told you, and you're complaining about the exact thing I told you was gonna happen. And
yeah.
I was like, you know what, like,
You're done.
really, this isn't working. We're done.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and ended it there. And so I'm like thinking about it and I'm like, okay, like he kept saying I'm being mean. And while like, no, I wasn't, again, sugarcoating my words, at the same time, I never did anything outside of what he didn't already know. Like I didn't
right.
like if I was he at one
He
point
knew
he
what
came,
this should have been. He knew, or better said, you
yes,
had set up the expectation of what it should have been. He expected more, or he expressed he wanted more, although you said
yeah,
no, and then still expected the more. And then when he didn't get it, he started bitching.
basically, honestly, basically, because the whole time I'm like, did I mislead you? And he's like, no, you're not, but like these are my feelings. And I'm like,
So then why are you getting involved in something that you can't? If you don't
mm-hmm,
like, because it's like basically saying, for example, I'm
yeah.
gonna put it in like more simple. We say we're gonna go out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me off the get, we're just gonna get tacos, street corner, not even street corner tacos. A little spot tacos, take cash only. That's where we're gonna have dinner. That's what I want to do, or that's what I can
Yeah.
offer you. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it would be me being like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go to dinner, but I want to go to a steakhouse. And so then I'm like, actually, I want to go in a steakhouse, and I want you to give me the fact that we're gonna go to steakhouse. And you're like,
Mhm.
but I told you that we were gonna
Mhm.
go get tacos. And
Mhm.
now, I understand you want a steakhouse, but you're not gonna get a steakhouse from me.
Mhm.
We can get tacos. And then me pushing and pushing, and then, well, I guess then we shouldn't go out to eat, right?
Yeah.
Because that's,
Yeah.
and again, that's the simple, like super simple oversimplification of it, but I feel like that essentially captures what.
That was the gist of it. Because again, I kept asking him. I was like, "Did I mislead you?" Because I feel like you're asking for way more than what we
Yeah.
agreed was. I was what I had set for. He's like,
Hmm.
"No," and I understand. He kept also that's something that like he's like, "I understand where you're coming from," but it's like he kept saying like, "I don't feel like you understand where I'm coming from." And I'm like, no, I do understand you're asking for all this. And I told you I'm willing to do this. I'm not compromising
Yeah, I
on
think
what
I think
I'm
what
willing to do for you right now.
I think what he was expecting is by him telling you what he wanted, and you understanding meant you were gonna go for it, or not go for it, but be complacent to what he wants.
Maybe,
And I'm always,
maybe.
and I'm,
But
and
no,
I'm like that never works. Because
it
I always
don't.
say this, like I have a conversation with my friend Juan, right? We talk about standards and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff all the time. And a thing that I always bring up, right? Because like you remember when the whole thing about the does the ring that you get your girl matter topic
Oh yeah.
was happening, right? And he was saying like, oh, he was kind of not like because he always speaks on both sides, right? But his thing was like, oh, but like if you're gonna prioritize, maybe like as a couple, you're prioritizing getting a house or something like that. So why would I put into the ring if we're planning to get a house type shit, right? And I told him,
Mhm.
I'm like, that's fine if you I'm like if there's certain things that you feel that in a relationship you can forego, then you need
Yeah.
to have that conversation with the person you're going to be with, and that she is also someone that wants to forego those kind of things, because
Yes.
you can't want to date a girl who does care for the ring, does care how much it costs, aside from the fact that you guys are getting like, it doesn't like there's nothing wrong with you wanting to be with someone and maybe, I don't know, cheaping out on the ring, but get the house, or her wanting that, like y'all to go for the house and
Yeah.
she wants her ring. Like neither, I'm like, neither is wrong, but you have to both. She shouldn't be going for a guy that can't give her the ring, and you shouldn't be going for the girl that you can't give a ring to.
Yeah. No, that's a valid point. It's like you might really like this person, but you need to be honest on whether or not you both are in agreement to what's expected and wanted. Um, and there some
And I think
compromises
you
are
can,
fine, right? But if you're asking someone to just completely shift their stance, not even a compromise, but just completely like 180 their stance,
yeah.
no.
And there is give and takes in relationship, and I think that's fine. But if you constantly find that you're giving or you're taking, eventually resentment's gonna form, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm like, let's say that one example is the ring, but I'm like, but let's say it's an ongoing thing where she has certain expectations of what she wants or how she expects to be treated. You are different, and you guys are trying to make it work, but still holding, either one of you holding on to whatever the other, like whatever you want to hold on to.
Hmm.
It's just gonna build a relationship where, again, in that kind of specific scenario, that kind of dynamic of a relationship where you're gonna feel that no matter what you do is never enough for her, and she's gonna feel
True.
that even though you're doing all these things, like you're not seeing her for what she wants, like, or not what she wants, but you're not listening to what she needs. You're just
Hmm.
doing, like, okay, it's like, for example, if I were to say, oh, if for me it's really important in a relationship to receive flowers,
Hmm.
and the person just doesn't, or at most will be like, here, flowers for your birthday. Thanks. I do like flowers for my birthday, but if I'm the type of girly that I want the random surprise of flowers and you're not really getting me that, and it's like, but I don't understand, they're just flowers. I'm like, okay, but that's all I'm asking, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
So then I have to go for the person that just randomly sends flowers, right? So stuff like that, stuff like that. So back to the whole prioritizing thing.
Yes.
So how did that stem into that?
Because and looking back at it, I'm like thinking, I'm like because he kept going off on how I'm just being mean and not
Hmm.
understanding, right? And at the
Hmm.
same time, I'm like, I feel like it's mean of him to not to push for more than what I'm willing to give,
Right.
right? And so I'm like, should I have been nicer about it? Should I have tried to sugarcoat it more? Should I have been more patient? Um, and I honestly, I kept going back to, I'm like, but why? Because I was clear in my intents and my boundary of things, right?
Right.
So so yeah, that's just like my thinking. But I also know that I've said this before. I am a selfish person, so I always put my comfort above someone else's, right? And I'm like, are there people that like try to prioritize differently? I mean, obviously
Yeah.
yes, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just feel like that'd be yeah, to your point of view at it as well.
So I'll say, as someone that, although I will try and prioritize myself,
Mm-hmm.
um, for the people that I am very close to, I
Mm-hmm.
am more successful. Like I will put myself into not as comfortable or prioritize myself
Okay.
situation. Like I'll prioritize them, right? So I think a good example would be, let's say, uh, I may not be like, for example, my parents. Um, I am not a fan of certain activities that, we've always done in
Yeah.
growing up. Um, and or better said, getting together with certain people.
Mm.
However, I know how important it is for my parents,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know that although I might not be the most comfortable, or I might, again, it's really just about comfortability and how I interact with those people. I know that I'm not really fully feeling displaced, right? It's just a slight annoyance.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't mind
Okay.
doing that because I know that for my parents, it's gonna, like, they're really gonna be happy about it. So I'm like, okay, a slight discomfort in order for them to be very happy, that's fine, you know? Um, and I would do that for like y'all,
Mm-hmm.
right? That would be one example. The only I just think, I don't know, I feel like we're not really the type of friend group that put each other in situations, right? Can I safely assume where
I think
we're not
so.
prioritizing ourselves, you know? Like I'm
Like
very much
we
aware
prioritize our
of
friends.
how we prioritize the comfort of our friends. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I know you're not someone that wants to be in certain bigger social settings, um,
Mm-hmm.
that you're not like, I wouldn't throw you in there, right? Um, but I also don't, but like for example, a good example is my dance stuff. If I have a performance, I'm not gonna be like, hey, Vane, I want you to go to my performance, knowing you're gonna be in a room with hundreds of people where you would have to socialize with those hundreds of people. But I'm also not hurt about, like, oh, she's not there. Now, if it
Mm-hmm.
were something like, hey, listen, this is like, I don't know, like for example, I've only do team stuff, but if I were to do a solo debut, then I'd be like, hey, Vana, this is actually important, very important to me. Then I might
Yeah.
put you in the situation where, okay, yeah, you might have to do some whatever, but I also think that you'd be like, okay, okay, we'll figure this out. We're gonna do something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
no, for
don't
sure.
really
I feel
think
like
you are being selfish.
yeah, funny enough because you guys don't really have the same discomforts that I have, right? So I guess the flip of that,
Mhm.
or the best way that I could be considerate of y'all, is me showing up for y'all and putting myself in someone this like I remember the
Yeah.
first time you debuted, you asked me to come and I'm like, oh God, a social like a whole soul yeah, I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm going. You want me there, I'll be there. Don't you worry. I'll deal with my shit.
Really?
And I did.
Yeah, you were there.
No, yeah,
See,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that
Apparently
I
Sunday
would
Noel
now
was
that
there.
I
I was like,
know.
I can deal.
I think, see, if I were to have to put you in that situation again, it'd be a lot smoother because
Mm,
now that I know how performances and stuff work, I would know like time that I would go on. So let's say
mm,
I'm like, okay, I know for sure I'm gonna go on like after 11, right? So then I'd be like, babe, can you be there at 10:30? So then you'd be there at 10:30 max, you're really spending there is like an hour. Where I'm
mm.
like, I think in your mind, an hour versus, for example, that day, it was like almost a whole day thing, right? So, which in that day I didn't really know like too much of like I know we were gonna perform, but I didn't know what time we were gonna
Right.
perform, when we were like it was messy, right? Versus at least like for example with the team that I'm in now, or now that I know how it works, the order and all that, I would I would tell you, hey, listen, you just need this window. You need from here, and then at most it's gonna be an hour from there. And I think you'll be like, okay,
Right.
I can do that. You go in, have to
Yeah.
do it for an hour, and then I'm all right. You can go by doodles. We took our picture. Yeah, you know, where it's a
Yeah.
win-win. You know, or at least it's not as stressful. I'd like to think, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
And listen, even again,
I
even if
don't
you
know.
wanted the
I
all day
saw,
thing, I'm like, this is one day I could do from my baby.
yeah, I saw that you put on here, so being selfish versus empathetic.
Yeah.
And I'm confused because I feel like you can still be empathetic while choosing yourself
Hmm. Though
because
some
you
people
having
would
empathy for
disagree,
someone doesn't.
right? Because I feel like people like to take empathy and bring it to the extreme, where it's just like you're channeling so much on what the other person is feeling that you're ignoring your own feelings and intuitions on it. Um, and while that is definitely a thing that people do,
Yeah.
again, yeah, like I said, I while I understand this person's feelings, I'm gonna choose my comfort first and foremost.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like so I don't know, as someone like I like to think that I'm empathetic.
Mhm.
Um, I can still like I'll empathize with how someone feels. I'll try to empathize and understand what someone's going through.
Mhm.
But I think where I usually draw the line is once if in order like if me understanding you or understanding why you're doing something is now kind of giving you a pass on how you're treating me, that's where
Mhm.
I'm like I can
Okay.
understand where you're coming from, but that
Mhm.
does not mean that I will allow or continue to put myself in a position where you'll continue to hurt me. Right?
Okay,
And
that's
I think
fair.
that's usually where I think about it. Yeah, because like with a lot of things that have happened in general in life with friendships and family relationships, I think I'll speak more on like family relationships. I know why certain cousins, certain aunts or uncles have behaved the way they are, right? Because
Mhm.
I know the family history. I know how they grew up as kids, right? So I can empathize and even hurt for you in the sense of like, damn,
Mhm.
I know why you're the way you are, right? Like I can totally in that sense still full emotions there,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that if for example you're the type of person that one day you're click everything's good and dandy, the next you don't want to talk or look at me or whatever, and you're just flippy floppy like that all the time. I
Mm.
can understand why you're like that, but I'm not gonna continue having a relationship with you when at the end of the day we're grown adults. We could have easily talked things through,
Mhm.
and it hurts me to have a relationship like that. I don't like one day thinking I'm gonna say hello to you and then the next day you just walk by and you're completely ignoring me. That's not the kind of relationship I want to continue, feeding into.
Fair. Fair.
So I understand you, but that I'm not gonna put myself in that situation because I am hurting myself, right? Knowing
Yeah.
me, knowing how empathizing with myself, you know. Um
Yeah,
and
because
I'd
my
like
one
to
of my
safely.
concerns, yes,
No, go off, go off.
you
I'll just
finish.
keep
You'd
on
like to
going. You
safely.
go. Go. No,
Okay,
nothing,
because I
nothing,
would
nothing. Go on.
no, because
I
your point just
empathy.
now,
We
it's the whole
empathize.
like Yeah, right. We nearly this. No, your whole point in that empathizing isn't hurting me. It always reminds me of the whole tale of the frog and the scorpion, right? And while do you know the tale? No? Okay,
No.
like
What scorpion?
there's like a pond or a river, right? And there's a scorpion on one end that wants to get across. Okay? And there's a frog, and the scorpion's like, "Hey frog, like let me hop on your back and can you like help me swim to the other side?" And the frog's like, "No, you're a scorpion, like you'll sting me and then you'll kill me, right? It'll like your venom is poisonous,
I'll die,
right?"
Cam.
And the scorpion's like, "No, like don't worry, trust me. Like I just really need to cross and I really need your help. So can you please help me?" And the frog's like, "Okay, no worries, I'll help you." And then like halfway through, Scorpion did what a scorpion does, stung the frog, and the frog's like, "Why would you? Now we're both going down." And the scorpion's just like, "I am a scorpion, I cannot help it." Right.
I've never heard
Um
that story.
no.
Is there more to it? Oh, carry on. Sorry,
No, that
sorry.
was that was that that's the whole story,
Oh,
and that's like I feel like the lesson's pretty clear on that, right?
right.
And that is always it's for me that is a cautionary tale on being empathetic. And while I try to have some space for empathy, um that's always the back of my mind. I was like, because then some people want to use empathy as a way to sell excuses,
Weaponize it.
and exactly, and it's like I'm always so wary of that because I can be understanding while I can understand like much like you can understand this person's feelings, but it gets so close then to being so pathetic that you're just willing to ignore what's being done to you in
Yeah.
order to
You're hurting
empathize with this
yourself.
person. And so that's why I'm like, while I can, I'm not always the most willing to empathize.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think again, my thing is more I don't think empathizing with someone means you're gonna forego. It often is confused as such, or better said, there's
Right,
people that
exactly.
expect that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where people are like, you know what, I'm good. Like, he's it is what it is.
Later that same evening.
Yeah, so like the whole empathy thing, I feel like again, like I said, it gets constantly like kind of thrown into you have to understand someone. Something you wrote
Mm-hmm.
here that I feel like is a perfect example where you can have empathy, but in a way you kind of prioritize your own mental health, is
Mm-hmm.
being friends with people in bad relationships.
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like uh, hmm, not better said, when you sometimes are talking to friends that are in bad relationships, I've come to understand in adulthood that
Mm-hmm.
um sometimes although you listen and whatever and they ask for advice and all that stuff, at the end of the day they're gonna really decide if they're gonna stay or not in the relationship. And what sucks
Yeah.
is that sometimes as a friend you have to sit there and kind of just watch the person stay in that relationship despite the fact that they've come and told you and bitched and all that. And when I say bitch to you, it's not like in a mean way. It's just really they are bitching, they're venting, right? They're
Yeah.
and it's very frustrating. Like I've been in that position to see all
Mm-hmm.
that go down
Same.
and then to see them stay, because it's like, and I've seen it. Well, no, I've had guy friends as well, but like, more speaking on women, like I'll be like, baby girl, like you deserve the world, and homeboy's not even giving you a quarter of it, and you're staying. But sometimes you also
Yeah.
understand why they're staying. I don't know. For me, I'm very much a like, leave that man. But
Yeah.
I understand that that's not how everyone has been brought up. That is not everyone's situation either. Um, so
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, so sometimes you just gotta sit there and be like, my heart hurts for you, but what am I supposed to do at that point? You know?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like when I worked at one of the restaurants. Like one of the girls was just like bitching about their boyfriends, right? And I'm like, he doesn't sound like he's good for you. So why are you with him? And then she was like, no, because he can be like really like that bullshit, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, but he's also proving he's not, right?
Right.
And so I'd be like, whatever. Like at first, I'd be like, no, like you gotta leave him, right? Like you just gotta leave him.
Yeah.
And then she's like, nah, like maybe I'd like no, blah, 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 right? All this back and forth, and they
Okay.
stay and they stay, and then at one point, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, listen, I don't want to hear about it. I really don't because you stay with a bitch ass that keeps cheating on you, don't provide for
Yeah.
shit, like has you pay for a lot of shit, really. And I'm like, and for what? Right? He ain't even like not good looking, not smart. What is he actually doing? And he
Yeah.
has a lame ass job too. And so I'm like, I'm not supporting this relationship, and I cannot stand you complaining about him constantly.
Mm.
Mind you, for like months they'll complain, right? It's
Yeah.
not it's not like I'll hear about it like twice and then I'm done with it. No, no, no.
Hmm.
It's like months, and so I'm like, do not. I don't want to hear any more about him.
I think for me, it goes one of two ways, right?
Okay.
In our youth, or when I was younger, if it was someone complaining about a relationship that is literally just boyfriend and girlfriend,
Yeah.
um, I would get after a certain time, I'd get a little more frustrated because I'm like, you do see the red flags, you see the bad,
Yeah.
and yet you're still staying in it. I understand. I understand being in love, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't. But anyway, I'll get into that later. But what's it called? But like to me, those kind of relationships, I'm like, why are you staying? You're literally not gaining anything. Versus, and a lot of times, the times that I've come to be like, okay, I guess I'm gonna be more understanding as to why you're staying is in marriages, right? Because not that people just can't divorce. I understand they can. I understand they can split up, but I do understand how much more complicated it is for people to then take the
Yeah.
decision, right? So having friends that have stayed with partners that aren't really great, um, but despite me not choosing it, like if I were in that position, I don't think I'd choose the same, but them still choosing to stay, unless it's like super dire, right? Like no, like it's super abusive and all that. And even then, I
Okay.
wouldn't even turn to, oh no, don't complain to me. I'll be like, you are, you're not seeing it, like you don't see the dire situation you're in. So I am not gonna
Hmm.
abandon you because you're not like, for example, in a lot of times you see people in like narcissistic relationships where the person tries to isolate that person.
Yes.
If I see that's what's going on, but you don't see it because again, you're in that relationship. No, I'm not going to leave you because we are helping homeboy or homegirl achieve what they want. So, it's situations like that that I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. You can bitch to me. You can complain to me. You can come to me because it's so much more complicated than a
It
regular
is.
day
It
relationship,
is.
But that is, for me, I try to understand the whole of it. Like, okay, again, I empathize with the fact, okay, how were you brought up? Is it that, like, if were you
Yeah.
brought up in a way that to you, you were always painted that a marriage is the only thing. So although you may be hearing my view, where my mom was like, he's treating you bad, but mándalo pa'l carajo.
Yeah.
You're not gonna understand when I'm telling you, yeah, fuck this guy, because you weren't brought up like that. So in your mind, you're like,
Hmm.
okay, fine, not saying fuck this guy, but if I split with from him or from them, like this is the worst decision I can make because you were brought up that way. So I'm not gonna judge you for staying because like I am, but like it's like a light judgment because I'm like,
Like
you don't know anything else. Like
I'm
I understand that I'm
I'm
helping.
if
No, you can't do the same.
the only time I won't, right, like bash on them for saying is if they are like real like kids or immigration status or um financial reasons you cannot leave a person. That's where I will have grace for you, right? If you are not extremely dependent on a toxic partner, right? If none of these three apply to you and you're still with this person, that's where I'm like, I really do not have uh that's where empathy goes out the window for me because
Even
listen,
if they're
being raised
in an emotional
mm,
state that they're not seeing the problem,
I try to, but being raised by mom and mother and everything that she went through, and she still knew to walk away and was able to, and she's still like, fuck these men, right?
Yeah, it's
I
very hard
can't.
for you to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like because like again, my mom very much did raise me on the, leave that man
Yeah.
uh type of mentality. Um I don't know. I because in my head I always think I'm like, God forbid. Again, you're not thinking straight. And if
Right. And
I
yeah, I understand, trauma really fucks with the brain,
yeah. I can't. I
but
literally. I'm the type of person that I really just can't. Like, granted, I'm not gonna for every bitch and moan. No,
yeah.
do not call me for every bitch and moan. But I will still be somewhat present in your life because hopefully one day when you decide to leave, it's not
Yeah.
like a because a lot of the time too. Let's say they get so far point that they don't have contact with anyone. A
Yeah.
lot of times, people that is difficult for them to leave these relationships. It's like because of this person, I have lost everyone.
Yes.
So if I cut off with this
Yes.
person, who is my community? I don't have a community. If I'm at least the
Hmm.
one person that's the community, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
baby, I
Again,
told you.
I'm gonna try. I wouldn't. I don't think I would ditch this person either. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely judging. I'm definitely at least judging. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. And then God
Fair.
forbid they do leave their toxic partner and then go back. And while again, I know I fully understand
Yeah.
a lot of this is
Those
just
are bad
trauma
too.
response and so many mental issues that come with it that you need to unlearn.
Mm-hmm. It's just very hard for you
Again,
to, yeah.
yes, again, because of all the shit that I witnessed growing up, right? And then my mother being who my mother is and everything that she's instilled in me, I'm like, if you don't put on your ovaries and step the
Pick
fuck
yourself
up,
up. Pick yourself up.
oh my god, oh my god, that's my mother's favorite phrase, right? When a woman's just being bitchy, I was just like, put on your fucking ovaries and step the fuck up, right?
I
And so
love
yeah,
that. That's so funny. Yeah, no, I do understand that. I think for me, that's why like earlier when I was saying I'm like maybe I don't understand love, right? Because
yeah,
um
not yeah
I
that I'm agreeing. Yeah, you said this.
yeah, no, I know. Because for me, I agree. Like I can love someone,
Hmm.
but if I am no longer like this relationship is no longer good for me or for
Yeah,
you or just thinking about me, right? Because I'm thinking about
yeah,
my ex, right? I love the kid so much, so
yeah,
much. But I was like, this is hurting. Like being together hurts me now. So I
yeah,
can love you so much, but no, I'm sorry, no, this is done. We're done because this is no longer like I don't think love should be like this, right? So when I hear that there's people that like, oh, but I like, yes, they're like this, but they're a shitty person, but I love them. I'm sitting here like, have I not been in love enough where I'm willing to forego my mental state? Or do I have a good understanding of love where I'm like, okay, I may love you, you may supposedly love me, but I'm not gonna sacrifice myself for it.
yeah.
So I don't know. I always think I'm like, was I actually in love? Was I not? I don't the
I
world
do
may
think you
never
had love, but you're also not dumb in love,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
let's be
Yeah, I never
honest.
been.
You exactly
Never.
like you saw for what it was, and while you had the feelings, you were also self-aware and be like, this is not healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I people
a lot of people can't handle being alone, so they'd rather take what they
that
have
is true.
versus my baby girl, independent woman that can't be the fuck alone.
I don't need no
Exactly.
man or woman.
You
But it's not it. What was I gonna say?
started it.
I was gonna say, oh no, I was a little side tangent before we get into the last point that we had for the
Okay.
topic. Um, did I ever put you through shit like that when I was dating my ex? That it was one of those, oh, your friend's in a bad relationship. Granted,
No.
I don't feel like it wasn't. our level of bad escalated real quick. Like it was going okay, it was going real well, and then it started going
Yeah.
a little down, and then it started going pretty bad, and I was like, all right, fuck this, I'm tired, I'm out of here.
Yeah, y'all like it was a normal relationship, right? Y'all would have your little tiffs, your little arguments, little disagreements, no big deal, right? And then yeah, it just hits a point where you guys were just arguing a lot at that point,
Yeah,
and that's where I'm like, baby, you
yeah.
good, right?
I remember.
And then yeah,
I was gonna say the phrase "pick yourself up by your ovaries" or "put your ovaries on," whatever. I
yeah.
remember the moment that I had that realization
Word,
because
do tell.
yeah, it was. I don't even remember what the fuck we were arguing about because at that point we were arguing about almost anything.
Uh huh.
But I was so mad because we were good. We were good. We were everything was going kind of well,
Okay.
and something happened that he called me to start up an argument. And no, we were texting, and in text, I told him, I am working on a school project. Can
Mhm.
we please discuss this tomorrow? Like, my
Mhm.
focus, this is due tomorrow. Because it wasn't due at midnight, it was due like the next day. I'm like, this is due
Okay.
tomorrow. I have to finish it up. This is very important to me. I promise we'll revisit this topic tomorrow, but I am not
This
in
is
the headspace
familiar.
where yeah.
Uh huh.
Pero ahí, hold it. We end up on the call. Why did I just not answer the call? I don't know. I was dumb. I was young and in love. I was dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
I answered
Yeah.
the call and fue an argument. And it was like 12 o'clock. And I was crying. And I was like, I have to still work on my project. And we're still arguing here. And I was like, I'm done with this conversation. I need to do. We hung up and I
Okay.
did my project, and it was like 3 a.m. that I was finally done with my stupid shit. Because I'm not a morning person where I like, because in my head, I'm like, I could
Yeah.
just go and I'll do it. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Like, let me just finish. Power through
Yeah.
Finn. We were gonna see each other the next day. Well, because we went to school, right? So we always
Yeah.
saw each other. And I remember that he texted me the next morning, like, oh, I'm so sorry, or whatever the fuck. And he's like, I want to see you. Like, let me know. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm gonna go to class, and then we could see each other after class. Meet me in my car. I always had a spot that I parked in. I got ready for school, and I got fucking gorgeous, right? I got fucking gorgeous for class. Cause you know me, I mentioned the last time I was always in like a t-shirt and leggings type shit, right? And I remember that he was gonna come to the car. He came to my car. I was finishing up applying my lipstick, and he was like, "Baby, I want sec." I'm like, "You're gonna listen to me." I'm like, I asked you so because I got so mad at the fact that I'm like, I didn't even say we weren't gonna talk about it. I said, give me this space, and you did not respect that. And I'm like, who the fuck is this little bitch, right? Like, and so I didn't tell him that, but that was all in my head. And I remember that I
Uh
was like,
huh.
I asked you so many times to respect the fact that I need to. I'm like, you are getting in the way of my schoolwork. My schoolwork. I'm like, I've been a top student.
You
I've
tell
done
them.
all this. And I'm like,
Mhm.
para que tú te, like, para que, I'm like, I'm exhausted right now. And I'm like, I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted. I still got my shit done because I always do. And I'm like, the next time that I ask you to respect that, whatever, and you do not respect it, we are so done. I'm like, I'm not going to cry right now. I don't want to talk about whatever happened because I'm just going to get more pissed off and I am going to end it here. And I'm like, and I don't think we want that, do we? No, I don't want that. Okay, cool. You've been warned. This is your strike. We're moving the fuck on. Oh, okay, cool. Shortly
Love
after
that.
that, we
I
broke up.
love that.
But girl, I was just like, because I remember crying and I was just like, what the
Yeah.
because my mom came in, like, I was after the call and she was like, what is going on? And I was like, and I told her, I'm like, I'm crying out of frustration because I begged him so much, do not push me to this point. And he did
Yeah.
exactly. So now that you said like the whole pick up by the ovaries thing, and I was like, oh. So yeah, as
That was
much
a
as I
beautiful
try to
moment.
understand and I know everyone's different, but in my head sometimes I am like I always say either I have not been in love or I've just been taught love differently because Jesus, when
Mm.
I this is a lot. I was gonna say, okay, one last thing, which is with
Yeah.
with the whole prioritizing yourself. You put here being sensitive to others' feelings, even though your boundaries aren't being respected. Sorry.
Yes.
Uh,
I feel like we've touched upon that
yeah.
with the earlier ones, especially with like the the
Empathy with her.
empathizing versus the being a selfish one.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah, I guess so then just to kind of wrap up with
Yeah.
that. Um yeah, no, like I said, I think you can be sensitive to people's feelings. But
Hmm.
not everyone's gonna have this uh idea. But again, just because we understand each other doesn't mean that we like, have to forego what we and there's a difference because there's a lot of people like this is my boundary. It's not actually a boundary, it's just something you're asking. Boundaries are actual like I think a good example, do you have an example of a boundary that because I feel like now
I think
my boundary,
boundaries
like
so
my
far
boundary
more.
is this.
I think boundaries are because people like to confuse boundaries and rules, right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't like this, is that, so don't do that, right? That's not a
Mhm.
boundary. The boundary is saying, if you do this, I'm doing this,
Yeah.
right? Like if you like in monogamy, like well, I'm not going to specify monogamous, but like in a couple, right? If they once like if I see that you're out there flirting with other people, I'm just not gonna maintain I'm not just gonna respect the behavior, and we're just gonna end it. Right.
Yeah.
That would be your boundary, and I feel like that'd be a fair boundary. If you don't want your partner flirting with other people, and they do, then your action then is to just end the relationship. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
fair one because they're not
Yeah.
saying you can't talk to people, you can't socialize. They're saying, hey, if you do this behavior, this is
Yeah.
how I'm going to react to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another example that I find so interesting, right? Because and I've
Hmm.
seen that explaining like the whole people actually what literal boundaries are versus people that are just using it for whatever
Yeah.
is for example an example that I saw was that it was like someone's birthday. It was the girl's birthday. Let's say it's the two of us, right? It's my birthday.
Okay.
And I invite you to my birthday and you say you're gonna
Okay.
go and you know that my birthday's important and blah blah blah. And then you text me, yeah, hey, I'm tired, so I'm not gonna go to your birthday. And I'm like, it means a lot to me, and you decided not to go. Why would you do that? And then you hit me with
Okay.
like, well, my mental and whatever health is my boundary, and so you gotta respect that. It was something like that. It was literally like
I
that.
hate
It was an
myself right
example,
now.
right? It
I
was
hate
one of those
myself
like
right now.
it was one of those am I the asshole things, right? And so they were like, this isn't a boundary. You're just, you're being a shitty friend
You're
and you're
giving yeah, you're
using
giving yourself an excuse to be an asshole. Shame on me.
exactly, right? If it's more of a like, okay, let's say you really are deciding like, no, I'm exhausted and I really can't go, then you have to, in a way, take the fact that I'm going to be upset, right? Because you are prioritizing your health and that's fine or whatever.
Yeah.
But you understandably, although you're like, okay, yeah, no, but this is my health, you also have to empathize and be like, well, it makes sense that she's upset and,
Yeah.
I'm sorry and whatever. And then hopefully the relationship or the friendship moved on from
I'm
that.
like, roll me to my baby's birthday if you need to.
Bro, I don't know, because
I
sometimes,
ain't missing
you
it.
look
I ain't
out
missing.
for it. I'm
That's
kidding. I'm
fair.
bugging
That's fair.
you.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
No, but you're fine. It's okay. It's okay. This
I
earth
will
needs a
shit
little.
myself. Put
I'm
me in a
kidding.
box. Just put some holes for air. I'll be fine.
I'm kidding, lovey. But yeah, no, it's stuff like that that I'm like, you're confusing. Again, you're using the terminology wrong, right? But people do that all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. I'm trying to think. The only person that I do know that I empathize so much that I forgo my feelings is my mama. Not even my papa, just
Same.
my mama. Yeah.
Same.
I'm
Same. With my
like,
sisters, I'm like, no and what?
no, I love my sister, right? Like we've had our falling outs and reconnection all the time.
Hmm.
Uh, although as of late, the last time that we have spoke about stuff with my sister, I'm always like, I'm a lot softer than I care. I take after my mother's
You
side, or
are.
not my
You
mother's side, my
are.
my mother specifically, because I see how much of a softie she turns to when it comes to her family and her siblings and
Yes.
stuff. And I'm always like,
Yes.
girl, pick yourself up. Why? Because when it comes to apparently mine, I'll be like, my heart turns into smush. But we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
my
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 mom.
mother's the only one for me.
Yeah,
Oh,
same,
that just
same
made
for
it
me,
sound like
mama.
I was gonna be single for life. Oh my god.
I don't know, baby. I feel like we've been living a good life in the
No,
single
because
life.
I had said my mother's the only one
Maybe
for me, and I'm like that just made it sound like I'm gonna be single the rest of my life.
I know that's what I'm saying, but like
Okay,
we've been
yeah.
having fun with that. But I was gonna say, you know what? Maybe you gotta dabble into your because I don't know. Maybe we've been searching in the wrong area. That's been my recent development. I'm like maybe I've been
Yeah,
sowing the
whatever
wrong.
is that, baby?
Yeah,
Uh
it just
huh.
I thought I
Uh-huh.
was out
Yeah.
here. I thought I was out here watering plants. Turns out I was watering the weeds, and yet there's flowers over here that I could have been watering.
Yeah, baby. What side is
Um,
that?
it's a great side. It's just a great
What side
side.
is that?
You know. Anyway, back to the topic. Is there any closing thoughts you have for the topic?
Oh, yeah, I had a thought earlier, that I want to make it clear that just because I
Yeah.
can understand someone does not mean they are right.
Oh no. And
Yes. Yes.
just because I always say this, I may
Mm-hmm.
think that you're not you, general you.
People? Okay.
Yeah, I may think your opinion's stupid, and maybe I'm the
Mm-hmm.
one that's wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong, but opinions are opinions. And
Yeah.
yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. Just because I can empathize with you, that does not mean you're all right. It just means
Word.
that I understand why you're coming from where you're coming from and why you
I
lack.
still don't agree, but I see it, you
Yeah.
know. I see how you
Yeah.
came to a solution, but the answer's still incorrect. But you showed your
Yeah.
work.
You showed your work. It's still wrong,
Yeah.
but you showed your work.
Yeah.
I like how you put that show your work stuff because I was always in math. I loved math. And whenever the
Freckle,
teachers
you
be like,
gotta
"Oh,
box in
you're
the
still,"
answer.
yeah, when the teacher, I nothing would get me more annoyed than when the teachers were like, no, the way you did it was wrong," and I'm like, "But was my answer right?" Yes. I'm like, so then the math is
Yeah,
there. I'm
those
doing
those
math.
piss me off. I'll understand, right, taking off points for not showing the work because the whole point is you understand what for teaching.
Right.
But if your way is slightly different, but clearly you're getting the right fucking answer,
Right.
you give me the full mark. Oh, you give me the
Because
full mark.
because in college was that I came to understand it. Luckily, the instructors or professors did do it. I
Hmm.
understand me getting it wrong if you ask. You have to get the answer using this method. If I didn't use
Yeah,
that method and you give me partial points just because I got the right answer, but not because I did it, fine. Because you
yeah,
specifically asked me for me to do
yeah.
Taylor expansion, and I just got triggered. And I didn't use Taylor expansion. I used whatever other stuff. Girl, I remember that calc class that I took so many times because the stupid Taylor expansions, bro. I'm
Mind you, I don't
triggered.
even know what the fuck a Taylor expansion is. Well, I
I
mean, I
hate
guess
it.
that wedding that just happened. June.
What wedding doesn't exist? What was I gonna say? Okay, yeah,
Closing comments.
no, that makes sense. I agree. Just because I see your point doesn't mean I agree. That's your closing
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
thought?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with it. That will I will also grab that and make that my closing thought as well. This was a good topic, BB. All because of
Thank
a
you.
itchy whiny guy,
A whiny little bitch, yes.
a whiny little bit. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
and they want to
If
say women
you
are emotional. Oh my god.
we're not we emotionally connect in other ways that
Hmm.
yeah, but like emotionalism, we let our emotions run. No. Anyway, I was gonna say, if you enjoyed this topic and want to see more topics like this, check out. We drop a new episode every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Spotify, on YouTube, and on our Heart Radio. Any other streaming platform you think we're on, we're most likely on there. All right. Please comment below. Do you feel like you prioritize yourself? Do you feel like you're empathetic with others? just comment below if if you really anything resonated with you, or if you disagree and you think that no, empathizing is having to fully agree or whatever the fuck.
Hmm.
Go put it in the comments. If you're also want to be a guest, message us, and as long as the three of us agree, then you're more than welcome. While you're messaging us, you should check our TikTok and our Instagram, which is at 1.2 brain cells underscore official. That being said, toodle loodle,
Totally
hugs and kisses,
not from me.
not from my name. Yes, bye.
Bye.